Hello, everyone. Welcome to TESL Careers presentation. In the first part of this presentation, I will talk about TESL Ontario's OCELT and ICTEAL certification and the application pathways. And then in the second part of the presentation, Krista from the CCLB will talk about the CLB online courses and resources. And then I will come back to give you some tips on job search in the field of TESL. And at the end, we will have a bit of time for a Q&A session. I would like to start with a question that I often receive from certification applicants. And the question is, do I need a TESL certificate or the TESL Ontario professional certification? And of course, these two are not the same thing. The answer is, it really depends on which employer you would like to work for. Government-funded employers in Ontario usually require the TESL Ontario certification. These employers include school boards in Ontario, settlement agencies, funded language assessment centers, some community colleges that offer funded programs, and it can be other funded organizations. Non-funded organizations may not require TESL Ontario certification, but they may consider it as an asset. These employers would include private language schools, career colleges, community colleges and universities, testing agencies, tutoring agencies, and international employers. So if you are not sure whether or not you need the TESL, whether you need TESL certificate or the TESL Ontario professional certification, you will need to look at the employer and the hiring criteria that they have in place. So funded programs, they usually require TESL Ontario certification. TESL Ontario offers two professional certifications and designations to qualified applicants. One of them is OCELT. OCELT stands for Ontario Certified English Language Teacher. And the other certificate is called ICTEAL, which stands for Internationally Certified Teacher of English as an Additional Language. Both of these certificate titles are officially registered as trademarks and professional designations. This means that only the TESL Ontario certified members are entitled to use OCELT and ICTEAL as their professional designations. OCELT recognizes the certificate holder's knowledge and skills to teach English to adult learners in publicly funded programs in Ontario and in non-funded programs anywhere else, as long as the employers would recognize the certificate and the training behind it. ICTEAL is basically an international version of OCELT. It was developed for the purpose of teaching outside the country, where an employer may ask for a certificate that has the word international on it. There are two initial requirements for TESL Ontario certification. Regardless of the application pathway or the type of certificate you're applying for, these two initial requirements must be met by all candidates. One is the degree requirement, and the other one is proof of English language proficiency. In other words, a candidate who does not hold a university degree will not be eligible for TESL Ontario certification. A college diploma or a college certificate will not be accepted in place of a university degree. And proof of English language proficiency must be met by all certificates, native speakers and non-native speakers, but there are some options for that. Let's look at each of these two initial requirements separately. For proof of university education, TESL Ontario accepts a bachelor's degree or a master's degree or a PhD from Canada, from a university located in Canada. If your degree is from another country, then you will be asked to provide a basic, not a course by course, a basic Canadian degree equivalency report from West Canada, ICAS, or CES. For proof of English language proficiency, there are a number of ways through which you can demonstrate your proficiency. It can be completed degree or degrees. It can be an ELP test or a combination of two of them. And it can be proof that you have completed grade 6 to 12. Now let's talk about each of them with more details. If you would like to use your university education as proof of English language proficiency, then you must meet these requirements, these criteria. The degree or degree programs you have completed must indicate that you have gone through at least 3 years of full-time in-person instruction or equivalent of that in part-time mode. The language of instruction must be English for the degree or degree programs you have completed. And you are supposed to have completed the program or programs in an English-speaking country like Canada, the UK. There are certain types of instruction or courses that do not count as proof of ELP, and they include online instruction, research-based courses, and certificate or diploma programs. We cannot add them up to years of doing a degree program. They will be deducted actually if they're online courses or research-based courses in the degree program. They will be deducted from the duration of the program. If your university education does not meet the language proficiency requirement, the first option, option A, then you can consider ELP option B, which is based on taking a language proficiency test. The tests that you see on this slide are recognized by TESL Ontario. They include Michigan English Test, IELTS Academic, again, not IELTS General, but only IELTS Academic, CALE at the Test Center, which is the in-person test, and CALE Online, both are recognized by TESL Ontario, TOEFL IBT, and also TOEFL IBT Special Home Edition, which is the online version of this test. And then the examination for the Certificate of Proficiency in English, ECPE. This one is also this one also belongs to Michigan assessment, just like the Michigan MET. As you can see on this slide, there are certain levels or bands required on each test. TESL Ontario accepts a combination of two test reports. For example, you may show that you have obtained the required levels in listening and reading on an MET test, and then speaking and writing on another MET test or another recognized test, let's say on IELTS. TESL Ontario recognizes test reports up to 3 years after the test date. Test reports are usually good for 2 years, but we accept them up to 3 years after the test date. And if a test report is older than 3 years, then we will consider it on a case-by-case basis. This means we may ask for additional information. Another option for those whose university education does not meet the ELP, the English language proficiency requirement, and may not need to go for a language proficiency test because they have completed their schooling in an English-speaking country. For these individuals, we need proof that they have done grades 6 to 12 in an English-speaking country with English as the language of instruction, and each grade is supposed to have been completed in 1 school year. TESL Ontario accepts report cards or confirmation letters from schools and school boards as proof of proficiency for this group. There are 2 application pathways for OCELT and ICTEAL certification. Application path number 1 is for the graduates of the TESL Ontario accredited training programs. So if you hold a certificate from a TESL Ontario accredited program, you have completed at least 300 hours of training, you can consider application path 1. I will talk about the details of this pathway later. Application path 2 has 2 streams. First of all, this path 2 is also called Competency and Credit-Based Prior Learning Assessment and Recognition, or CCPLAR for short, and it has 2 streams. Stream A is for individuals who have completed a degree in TESL or TEFL or Applied Linguistics, or they have a Delta or a DIP-TESOL, or they have gone through a 2-year college diploma in TESL or TEFL. Stream B is for individuals who do not have TESL-related training, but they have extensive teaching experience. So if you have taught ESL or EFL to adult learners for at least 2,000 hours over the past 5 years, with at least 500 hours over the past 3 years, you may be able to consider application path to Stream B. There are, of course, other requirements, but I will talk about them later. So, application path 1. As I mentioned before, this application pathway is for individuals who are interested in applying for OCELT and ICTEAL certification, and they have already completed a TESL Ontario accredited training program of at least 300 hours. There are 3 requirements. The 2 initial requirements that I already talked about, a degree from Canada or a basic Canadian degree equivalency report, and then proof of English language proficiency, which can be in the form of university education or English language proficiency test report or reports, or proof of completion of grade 6 to 12 in an English-speaking country. And then we also ask for proof of completion of the required training. This can be the TESL certificate from an accredited program or the official TESL certificate transcript. Interested applicants who have prepared the required documents will apply for certification in 2 steps. First, they apply for standard membership. Standard membership is a prerequisite to certification, so you need to be a member of TESL Ontario before you can apply for certification. Applications for standard membership are reviewed and processed in 1 or 2 business days, and then you will receive a membership number from TESL Ontario by email. When you have your membership number, then you will apply for certification by filling out application form A1 and uploading scans of your supporting documents to the form, and you will submit it. All TESL Ontario application forms are found on the link that you see at the bottom of this slide, applications.teslontario.org. You're going to see this link on some more slides, but I won't repeat it, just again for you to know that all TESL Ontario application forms are at this link. For application path 2 or CCPLAR, again we have a stream A and a stream B. The requirements of stream A are a degree from Canada or basic Canadian degree equivalency report. This one does not need to be in TESL. Some people have a Bachelor of Arts, and then there is another degree in TESL, like a master's degree in TESL, or they have a Delta. So when we say proof of degree, we don't mean necessarily a degree in TESL or Applied Linguistics. We also ask for proof of English language proficiency, again, as an initial requirement. Stream A applicants also need to complete 2 pieces of training, 2 courses that are provided by the Center for Canadian Language Benchmarks, free of charge. These 2 courses are the CLB Bootcamp and an Intro to PBLA for new ESL teachers. Both courses are online and self-directed, self-paced, and as I told you before, they are free of charge. Instructions on how to self-enroll in these 2 courses are posted on TESL Ontario's website. When you do each course, at the end of the CLB bootcamp, you will get the CLB certificate. At the end of the other course on PBLA, you will get a PBLA certificate. You will save them on your computer, and later on, you will submit them to TESL Ontario. We also ask for proof of prior education in TESL or TEFL or applied linguistics. Now, this can be a degree, like bachelor's, master's, PhD in TESL or TEFL. It can be a Delta or a DIP TESOL or a two-year college diploma program in TESL or applied linguistics. We need both the degree diploma itself and the official transcript for the same program. Applicants in Stream A first apply for standard membership, then they receive a membership number, and then they will go through two stages. In stage 1, they fill out application form A2.1 with the documents listed on this screen, on this slide. Once their documents are reviewed and approved, they will be notified by email and they will be asked to start stage 2 of the application process. The application form is Form A2.2. And what happens in stage 2 is that Stream A applicants need to demonstrate their competency in one area, and that is Canadian adult ESL contexts. To do that, they have three options. They can show their competency, basically for teaching in Canada, by showing that they have completed or will complete a practicum course, 50 hours, through a TESL Ontario accredited training provider. Or they may demonstrate, they may show that they have taught adult ESL in Canada for at least 250 hours. This must be recent experience. And we ask for employer confirmation letters for that. The third option to show competency is for them to sign up for an interview. And this will be an interview with TESL Ontario, through which we assess the candidate's knowledge and skills in teaching English to adult learners in Canada. And if they pass through the interview or they demonstrate their competency through the practical course or teaching experience, then they will be granted OCELT and ICTEAL certificates. For Stream B applicants, the required documents are a bit different. These are individuals who don't have training in TESL, but they have extensive teaching experience. So as initial requirements, we ask for proof of university education in any field of study. We also ask for proof of English language proficiency, the CLB certificate and the PBLA certificate, and finally, proof of adult ESL or EFL teaching experience. Here we ask for confirmation letters from employers in Canada or abroad, and those letters must indicate that the candidate has taught ESL or EFL to adult learners for at least 2,000 hours over the past 5 years, with at least 500 hours over the last 3 years. The application process is the same as a Stream A, only there is more competency areas, of course, for this group to meet in a stage 2. So applicants first apply for the TESL Ontario standard membership, then they submit their documents, the documents listed on this slide, in a stage 1. When they are approved, then we ask them to start a stage 2. In a stage 2 of a Stream B, applicants need to show competency in 4 areas: Canadian adult ESL contexts, culture and diversity, educational technology, and adult second language acquisition theory. Just like in Stream A, there are different options for candidates in Stream B to demonstrate their competency. And these options include doing a practicum course, taking a theory course like on adult second language acquisition theory, experience, and interview. The details are posted on our website, and later on I'll show you a link to these web pages. Occasionally, a candidate's documents may not carry the same name, in which case we will ask for proof of name change. And these are some examples of the proof that can be submitted, like government issued name change certificate, or a marriage or divorce certificate, or any other government issued document that shows the old name and the current name. The TESL Ontario certified members, and it doesn't matter if they have been certified through application path 1 or application path 2, stream A, stream B, as long as they are certified by TESL Ontario, they will go on the TESL Ontario online registry. This registry is available to all members of the public, whoever has your name or your membership number. They can go to the registry and find you there as a certified member of TESL Ontario. This registry lists only those who have valid OCELT and ICTEAL certification. You can download your certificates through the registry or receive them by email, again, through the registry. To access the registry, certified members will go to this webpage, registries.teslontario.org. Also, employers can use the same registry to verify the certification status of their new hires or their existing teachers. So if you need more information about application path 1, please go to our website at teslontario.org. There you will click on certification, then click on OCELT/ICTEAL, and then click on path 1. If you are a graduate or are planning to take a TESL program, or you are a graduate of a TESL Ontario accredited program. If you have a degree in TESL, TEFL, or you have a Delta or a DIP TESOL, or have done 2 years of college education in TESL or applied linguistics, you may want to consider application path 2. To access detailed information, again, go to our website, click on certification, click on OCELT and ICTEAL, and then click on path 2. Certified members of TESL Ontario are required to do 10 hours of professional development every year in order to be eligible to renew their certification with TESL Ontario. TESL Ontario provides several webinars every year and other events free of charge for its members. But at the same time, we recognize a variety of activities as PD. Some examples are on this slide. Attending TESL-related webinars, workshops, and conferences provided by TESL Ontario or other organizations or employers in Canada or abroad. Completing online courses offered by the Centre for Canadian Language Benchmarks, www.language.ca is their website address. Mentoring TESL students from the TESL Ontario accredited programs. Completing TESL-related courses. It can be a college course or other courses, as long as it's an accredited school and there is a certificate that you can use as proof of PD. Attending in-service training provided by the employer, and conducting or participating in TESL-related research. TESL Ontario certified members are audited for PD every month. 10% of the certified members are selected randomly, and we ask them to send in their proof of professional development for TESL Ontario's review. Okay, and that takes us to part 2 of this presentation, and I would like to ask Krista to join us with her presentation on the CLB online courses and resources. I'm going to stop sharing now. Okay, Krista, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Give me 1 second. Okay. Well, thank you, Reza, and hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. It's really exciting to be here. As Reza mentioned, my name is Krista Walsh-Murray, and I'm a senior project manager at the Centre for Canadian Language Benchmarks. And working in the adult ESL field, especially in Canada, you are very likely to come across Canadian language benchmarks or CLB. So I'm here to suggest some helpful resources you can access to become more familiar with these terms. Now, while I will be referring to English resources in today's session, I do want to highlight that we have accompanying resources in French. And on the slide deck, you will see a QR code in the top right corner of each slide. So if you want to access any of the materials that I'm discussing, you can get it through that link. So in case we have some people in the audience who are not familiar with the Centre for Canadian Language Benchmarks, also known as CCLB, we're a not-for-profit organization established in 1998 in support of the national standards, the Canadian Language Benchmarks, also known as CLB, and the Niveau de compétence linguistique canadienne, also known as the NCLC. We use the CLB and the NCLC to develop tools and resources that support language assessment, teaching, and learning. And we advocate for the CLB and NCLC in various settings because it's our vision to see that these standards are embraced far and wide. So as an overview, the CLB and NCLC are a set of national language standards for adult immigrants living and working in Canada. They describe the 4 skills of listening, speaking, and reading and writing across 12 benchmarks. And those 12 benchmarks cover 3 stages of ability. So there's basic, which would be CLB 1 to 4, intermediate, which would be CLB 5 to 8, and advanced, which would be CLB 9 to 12. Now, when it comes to the CLB, there's many resources that can be found online, and it can be overwhelming, especially if you're new to the field, to know which ones to begin with. So for today, I'm going to focus on 3 areas. The first one is going to be core resources, and they are the foundation of understanding CLB and what all other resources are built upon. Second, I'm going to talk about PBLA-specific resources in the event that you find yourself working within a government-funded language training program in Canada. And then finally, I'm going to touch on some employment-specific resources in the event you're supporting job seekers. Okay, so let's first start with the core resources. I'd recommend that you begin with these 2 source materials, the CLB ESL for Adults, which is the white cover on the left of your screen, and if you happen to be teaching literacy learners, the CLB ESL for Adult Literacy Learners, which is the purple cover on the right of your screen. These are the frameworks of reference that are used for learning, teaching, programming, and assessing adult ESL in government-funded programs in Canada. Now, each of the framework documents have a support kit. There's the CLB support kit and the CLB ESL for All support kit. And these support kits provide exemplars and sample tools on using the CLB frameworks in the classroom. Now, we also have our can-do statements, which are a good starting point as they present information in the CLB document in a way that's accessible to learners. And it does this by describing what learners can do at benchmarks 1 to 12 in the skills of listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So these statements can help facilitate discussions between you and your learners about what they have accomplished and what they still need to develop. We also have the can-dos for employment, which covers CLB levels 4 to 10. So it's not the full range of 1 to 12, but they are there. And they offer an overview of each level from a workplace perspective. And then finally, when it comes to initial resources, I do suggest looking at the Understanding Your CLBPT assessment report. It's available in multiple languages, and it's a useful document in explaining to your learners where they are on the CLB scale. So you can visit our website to explore these and other available resources further. All of the resources that I'm mentioning today are available for free download. So next, I want to bring your attention to our online learning platform, and you can access free CLB-based courses from our learning site, which is learning.language.ca. Now, as of today, we are in the process of doing an update to the site. So it may or may not be available at the moment. It wasn't this morning. However, it will be again in the coming days. But if you do need to create an account, you can email that address at the bottom of the screen, which is training@language.ca. You can include your full name, just confirm your ESL professional affiliation, whether it's an instructor, TESL student, TESL graduate, etc., and we'll be able to get you set up on the site. Now, once you're set up, there are currently 4 free courses that cover the basics of the documents that I mentioned previously. And the courses do vary in length, but each course will provide you with a certificate of completion, as Reza mentioned in the first part of his presentation. And these certificates can often be used as prerequisites for more advanced training. So both the CLB Bootcamp, which is the top left, and you can see it's a white cover, it matches the CLB document that I spoke about, as well as the orientation to the ESL for All, that's if you're working with literacy learners. These courses familiarize you with the contents of each of the framework documents, and they provide strategies, teaching tips, and best practices when working with learners. And then the corresponding support kit trainings, which are on the right, introduce each support kit document and provide information on how to maximize the tools that are found within. Now, following completion of the CLB Bootcamp, so again, that's that top left corner, the white block. This one right here is where TESL students, new TESL graduates, ESL instructors, or new administrators may wish to further their knowledge on PBLA principles. So let's now switch from the core resources to PBLA. PBLA stands for Portfolio-Based Language Assessment, and it's a teaching and assessment model designed to enhance nationwide consistency in ESL training for adult newcomers to Canada. And this is aligned to the Canadian language benchmarks. So if you are working in a government-funded language training program in Canada, it's very likely you will use PBLA. So I'm going to talk about where you can find PBLA-specific training and resources. First, as Reza mentioned, the online self-directed course, which is called Introduction to PBLA for New Classroom Instructors, helps to strengthen your understanding of task-based assessment using the CLB. So this course includes short readings, discussions, activities, and assignments that are related to topics such as assessment principles and best practices, task-based planning, assessing the receptive and productive skills. And the CLB Bootcamp is actually a prerequisite to access this course. So you're not able to do this until you've completed the CLB Bootcamp. Now, the PBLA Practice Guidelines website is where we share the foundations of PBLA and various resources for teachers, coordinators, and administrators. This site is kind of like the go-to place for the ESL community individuals who work in a PBLA environment. So the resource section in particular offers multi-level modules, supports to classroom teachers that are new to PBLA, as well as PBLA professional learning sessions. I'm not going to take today's presentation to go through this because there's a lot of information there, but I definitely encourage you to explore the site to further your understanding of PBLA if that's of interest. And then in addition to that site, there are other sites with classroom resources that you may want to check out. We have the multi-level modules from the PBLA Practice Guidelines site that I just showed. There's also the ICLBA site, which offers in-depth information about classroom assessment. And then you can find blended modules in the CCLB collection on Tutela, as well as on Avenue. So these are all resources that classroom instructors utilize to help them in their classrooms. And you may be thinking, Krista, that's a lot of information for an introduction to PBLA. So I do just want to bring us back for a second to where you can start if you just want to learn what PBLA is, because I've highlighted a number of places to find the resources. But for a quick overview, visit the My PBLA portal on our website. So here you're going to find 4 short videos. They're right on the screen. They're about 1.5 minutes each. And they give a snapshot of what is PBLA, the purpose of PBLA, how it can help in daily life, and it includes some learner testimonials. And while these are not PBLA-specific resources, I did want to take a moment to highlight them because in the event there are people here who will teach French in a Francophone minority communities, the teacher resources that are on screen might hold some useful information for you. They have links and they have tools to a lot of different information that can be helpful in your classroom. They were originally developed in French, but there are 2 teacher guides that have been translated in English for your convenience, and they are available as well for free download on our website. And now finally, moving into the employment sector, if you do find yourself teaching ESL in an employment-related context, I want to bring your attention to Language for Success. Now, Language for Success is CCLB's newest resource. And when I say newest resource, I mean it was launched in April of this year. So it is very, very new. It was funded by the Government of Canada's Skills for Success program. And what it does is it draws connections between that CLB core framework document and the 9 skills for success. And if you're not familiar with the skills for success, these help people develop skills for work, learning, and life. Now, Language for Success itself is an online toolkit. It includes a new framework, learning activities, self-assessments, lesson plans, tip sheets on how you can support workplace language skills development, and it's available in English and French, and it does include components for sign language. And since Language for Success is only new this year, and instructors will often teach employment-related content within a classroom, I do want to show you this introductory video about the Language for Success framework. Now, this shows the relationship between the CLB core framework and 9 skills for success. And the reason I want to show the video is because it helps provide a sense of how that CLB core framework, so again, that white document that I talked about at the beginning of the presentation, can be applied to support language training instruction. And in this particular example, it's through an employment context.
Welcome to the Language for Success Framework, a resource that highlights the language involved in demonstrating essential workplace skills. The Language for Success Framework brings together 2 national standards, Skills for Success and the Canadian Language Benchmarks. Skills for Success are 9 skills identified by the Government of Canada that people need for work, learning, and life. There are 3 or 5 proficiency
but the
levels
screen
on
is
each
just
skill,
frozen at the main
depending on the
screen.
skill. There are 12 Canadian language benchmarks. They describe a person's ability in 4 language skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. They are organized in 3 stages of ability, from basic to advanced. Many adult English as a second language programs use the Canadian language benchmarks to guide instruction and assessment. The Language for Success framework brings together Skills for Success and the Canadian language benchmarks to make it clear what language skills are involved in each skill for success. Canada is rich in cultural and linguistic diversity, which includes different communication styles and norms. Language proficiency and the skills for success are important for economic and social integration into Canada. The Language for Success framework helps language instructors, workplace trainers, and curriculum writers identify the communication skills that second language speakers will use in most Canadian workplaces. From the framework homepage, you can select any skill. There are 3 core language skills. For these skills, the framework shows the relationship between Skills for Success and the Canadian language benchmarks. For each benchmark, there's a summary of what a person can do and examples of typical workplace tasks that involve that skill. For example, reading a schedule, following directions, giving a detailed suggestion, or writing an email. The 6 other skills are often used in combination with language skills. Learners may already have these skills, but struggle to demonstrate them in English. For these skills, the framework highlights the language involved in expressing them and offers examples of how each skill is demonstrated at work. These examples can help you identify language skills and abilities to focus on, and how you can make them relevant to the workplace. From the webpage, you can select any skill to begin exploring the framework.
Okay, I'm not sure if that went through for everyone, because I understand that there was some freezing there. So I apologize. I don't know if I'm back on, but just in case I am, I will just say to wrap up that CCLB does have some community posts on our website where we post professional development and employment opportunities from the field. So you can certainly visit our site periodically to see what's going on. And with that, I am going to pass it back to Reza.
Okay, thank you, Krista. So let me share my screen here. Okay. Now I would like to give you some tips on job search in the field of TESL. One question that I frequently receive is who the employers are in our field. And actually, we have a variety of employers. And if you are new to the field, I recommend that you consider looking for more details about each of these employers. So we have school boards, settlement agencies, community colleges. All of them have ESL programs for adult learners, of course, universities, private language schools, career colleges, testing agencies. You can work as an examiner, as an assessor, not-for-profit organizations, tutoring agencies, international employers. Some of the TESL Ontario certified members work for employers who are based in other countries. And you yourself can be an employer if you have start your own business, like a tutoring business. And now I'm going to look at some of these employers in a bit more details. Ontario school boards. They are probably the biggest employers of the TESL Ontario certified members for their link and funded adult ESL programs. In Ontario, we have more than 60 school boards. Some examples are Toronto District School Board, Toronto Catholic District School Board, York Region District School Board, York Catholic District School Board, Thames Valley School Board in London, and Upper Grand District School Board. If you would like to know more about these school boards, you can go to the link at the bottom of this slide. You will see the same or similar links at the bottom of a few slides. So if you want to take a picture so that you can have them for reference later on, you can do that. Basically, if you go to www.ontario.ca and search for, let's say, school boards, you will get the full list, or colleges or universities. There are more than 100 settlement agencies in Ontario. Settlement agencies offer a variety of services for newcomers to Canada, including language instruction. Some examples are Costi Immigrant Services, Skills for Change, Culture Link, Center for Immigration and Community Services, CICS, Thunder Bay Multicultural Association, and Adult Language and Learning. You will find a complete list of them again at ontario.ca. Go to that webpage and search for Ontario settlement agencies. We have 24 community colleges in Ontario, like Humber College, Seneca, Fleming, Algonquin College, Mohawk College, and Sheridan College. All of them have ESL programs, EAP programs. Some also offer funded language instruction programs like Sheridan College, and they offer opportunities for employment. So if you go to ontario.ca and look for colleges, you will get a full list of them. There are 24 universities in Ontario, like Brock University, Carleton University, Lakehead, Trent, Western, and York University. All of them have English Language Institute, ESL programs, EAP programs, and a variety of other language-related courses. Go to www.ontario.ca search for universities, and you will get a full list of them with their contact information. If you want to find more jobs and more employers, and employers have the jobs, so you can initiate communication with them, you can go to TESL Ontario's website, the careers page. The link is on this slide. You can, again, take a picture of it, of this slide if you would like to. 211 Ontario is a website for newcomers to Canada. It includes a variety of information about whatever newcomers to Canada may need to know. And if you go there and search for LINK or ESL, you will find lists of employers. Settlement at Work also has job offers and job ads for settlement agencies. And at the Languages Canada website, you will find a list of private language schools and other not funded language programs in Ontario and in other provinces. We have only about 12 minutes left, so I'm going a little bit faster so that I can save some time for the Q&A. I have also answered some of your questions through the Q&A function here. The TESL Ontario members and also ESL teachers in general may work in a variety of contexts, like LINK programs, EAP programs, college, university programs. They may be teaching citizenship courses, literacy courses. They may also work as teacher trainers, like as theory instructors, methodology instructors, practicum supervisors, or academic coordinators. Assessment is also another huge field where jobs are found for ESL teachers. Tutoring is another field, and working in administration of ESL programs and LINK programs is also another field where ESL teachers may find employment. Some tips about job search. Make sure that you will do your homework if you are seeking employment in the field of TESL. And by that, I mean you should educate yourself about your target employers, who they are, what courses they offer, what types of clients they have, how many locations or campuses they have, and about the news and events that are going on in those programs. You need to know about them. Focus on a few courses that you would like to teach, and make sure that you review the information about the curricula and course outlines posted on these on the employers' websites. Make sure that you will tailor your resume and cover letter so that they will reflect, they will demonstrate your education and your teaching experience with sufficient details, and also in relation to what the employers need. Certain terminology is used by employers depending on what courses or what services they offer. Make sure that you will familiarize yourself with the terminology used by employers. Their websites would be a good source for you to take a look at and become familiar with specific abbreviations, acronyms, and other terms those employers use. You may be able to use them on your resume and cover letter to show that you are familiar with those topics, and you may also receive questions in interview sessions about these concepts. So get prepared and learn them before you write your resume or go for an interview. Volunteer activities can be very helpful when it comes to job search and finding employment in our field. The volunteer activity does not have to be in teaching ESL. Any type of volunteer activities in the community would be considered an asset. Make sure that you will update and revise your cover letter and resume each time you apply for a position. Positions may have different requirements. Employers may have different services and different hiring criteria. So do not send the same resume and cover letter to different employers. You need to update them, proofread them, revise them each time. Submit your cover letter and resume as per instructions provided by the employer if there is a job ad. If there is no job ad and you want to initiate some conversation with an employer, you may contact them by email to introduce yourself. You may be able to find the name and contact information of the hiring person on an employer's website, or you may want to give them a call and ask who the hiring manager is. Send them an email and attach your cover letter and resume. Let them know that you're available. Let them know what courses you're interested in, and that way your application may actually be considered and you may receive a response from the employer. Please keep in mind that most of the jobs, vacant positions in the field of TESL are not advertised. So initiating a conversation with your employers you would like to work for, through email or if possible in person, is a great idea. You do not have to always wait for a job ad to come up. Another way to consider is participating in TESL Ontario's mentoring events. These are 1-hour sessions through Zoom. You will meet with experienced TESL professionals and teachers and managers in these mentoring events. You can ask them questions. They will give you some guidance. To attend these sessions, you must be a TESL Ontario member. And for detailed information, please go to our website, TESLOntario.org, and click on Professional Development, and you will see a tile there for mentoring events. You can also use the TESL Ontario framework for adult ESL teachers, framework of competencies. In this framework, you will see precise descriptions of knowledge and skills that an adult ESL teacher need to have. And you can use these statements, first of all, to assess yourself. And secondly, you can use those statements to improve your resume and cover letter. Okay, that's it. And I'm going to stop sharing, and then we will go for questions and answers. Haley?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Reza and Krista. That was a very informative presentation. Lots to learn and lots to take down there. We do have a couple of questions, and I know that both Reza and Krista throughout the presentation, while others were presenting, were answering questions, so that's super helpful as well. One question that we have is the difference between TESL CA certification and OCLT. Could you let us know what the difference is there?
I believe by TESL CA, they mean TESL Canada
Yes.
certification. Yes, TESL Canada and TESL Ontario are separate entities. TESL Ontario certification is usually required by TESL Ontario by funded programs, funded employers in Ontario. TESL Canada certification is for other Canadian provinces. TESL Ontario certification is based on at least 300 hours of training. TESL Canada certification has different levels, Standard 1, Standard 2, Standard 3, with different requirements, different hours of training. Their Standard 1 certificate is based on 120 hours of training. So these are some of the differences.
Awesome. I'm just going to jump into some of the answered questions because there's some really good ones. If you could just reiterate them. If you complete your 10 hours of PD and you've already have your certification, do you need to send your proof to TESL or only if you're audited?
Yes, only if you're audited. If you're not audited, you don't need to send your proof to TESL Ontario.
Awesome. This question is for Krista that was already answered. I did the boot camp as a part of my training 4 or 5 years ago. Can I do it again on my own online as a refresher or an update?
Yes, you can. You could also email CCLB and we could probably reissue you your certificate if you're still in the system. But if you do want to do it as a refresher, that's fine.
Awesome. Let's take a look here. All right, one question is, do these report cards, this was for Reza, these report cards need to come directly from the school? One of the answered questions that you had done.
No, they don't have to. They will come to you and you will send us scans of them.
Awesome. Another question, if the degree has been taken outside of the country and is accepted by the Ontario Teachers College as their governing body, is this considered to apply for the TESL certification?
No, they don't. OCT, Ontario College of Teachers, and TESL Ontario are separate organizations. Each of them has its own certification requirements. We do not accept documents that are for OCT. You have to meet the TESL Ontario requirements as stated on our website.
Awesome. Do we need proof of language proficiency before applying for the certificate, or can we do it while we're working on the certificate? Can it be provided later?
You should have all required supporting documents before you apply to TESL Ontario for certification. So if you can do it while you are taking the training program, you may be able to do that. It depends on the training providers' admission requirements. They may let you start the program and do the language proficiency later on. But for the TESL Ontario application purpose, your application must come in with all supporting documents. Otherwise, it will be considered as incomplete and it will not be processed.
Awesome. So I think all with that wraps up the question period, just as we have a few minutes left of the presentation. For Reza and Krista, is there anything you'd like to add just to tie things up before we end the presentation today?
If you don't mind, there's just one question I've been going back and forth with an individual in the questions and answers. I just want to clarify for the Intro to PBLA course. So there are 2 PBLA trainings available. The one that I talked about today is available to anyone that completes the online bootcamp. So once you complete the online bootcamp, the online PBLA or Intro to PBLA will unlock, and it's a self-directed course. There's 6 topics. You get approximately 3 months to complete it, and once you complete it, you'll get a certificate that says a certificate of completion for that particular course. Under federally funded programs, so if you are working within an IRCC link program, there is another course called Intro to PBLA, and in order to access that course, you need to be employed by the organization, who the link administrator will then email CCLB to set you up in that training. It is more, it's more in depth than the online course. So that is only if you're working with a funded link organization. So in terms of hiring practices of different organizations, I can't speak to that, but all I can say is that there are 2 courses available. The online one is one that's open to anybody. And then if you if you do happen to find yourself working with a link organization, your link administrator would set you up to do the PBLA course or the Intro to PBLA course that way. So I hope that helps.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, looking at the time here and just wrapping up on time, I want to thank both Reza and Krista for a very insightful presentation all about these topics. What I'll do is I'll end the call here just so that we're all able to exit on time, and enjoy the rest of the conference and have a great day.
You too.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.